So approximately like 3 weeks ago, maybe, I decided to go camping. And right now in California, we're going to the cold weather. We've got snow up on the mountains. So it's cool, you know. And, you know, I've got a heater in the motorhome, so it's totally cool. So we went down there, and it was not a holiday weekend, it was nothing. And there was no RV spots open. Well, there is a spot in the campground that you can, like, park down by the riverbed. So, but again, there's no lights. You have water hookup and you have power hookup, but you don't have sewer. Which is fine because it's just me and me. You know, when Evo comes, because they come every day, so it was not a huge deal. You know, we'll just drive them over home. But I didn't want to park there. So, being that, you know, I had friends over the campground, whatever, I never felt unsafe. So, needless to say, so I just randomly picked a spot, and it was a good spot because Bean could run, and I didn't have to worry about her chasing neighbors or whatever. I don't know if you can see, but okay. Anyway, so yeah, Bean's hiding under the blankets because I'm really cold. So we set up, whatever. Eva went home. So all I wanted to do was sleep. I didn't want to hear TV. I didn't want to hear the phones. I didn't want anything. I was so tired. So I had the heater on. Of course, the heater's running on power. I don't run it off of the propane. And I have the little lights above the bed, which I'm going to the motorhome tomorrow because we're going to move it again tomorrow. So needless to say, it's like 11 o'clock at night. And normally if there's somebody around our motorhome, Beanie will bark. She didn't bark. So, you know, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to bed, whatever. The power cuts out. And then I hear the power box outside bang. Okay? Number one, I'm in a non-lit place. Two, nobody was around. Well, there was a neighbor, like 2 spots down. But when you park down there and there's older people, they park there to get away from noise and kids because they're older. And I personally like that because that way I can read or write or do what I want to do without hearing kids running outside or people partying, which Friday night, Saturday nights, let's do it. But this particular night, I was not feeling good and I was tired. So, needless to say, the power was off for like 30 seconds. It comes back on. Oh, cool. But I did call Ebel and I was like, Ebel, my power just shut off. I don't know what the hell's going on. Now, this is Jennifer's stupidity. Let me tell you. I go open the motorhome door. What was I thinking? Like, there's no lights and you're by a river. So, it is pitch black. I'm like, really? I'm not going to see anything. And if there's a murderer out here, I'm dead. Whatever. Close the door. And I just was like, you know what? Your mind is playing with you. You know, you're tired. You haven't slept in days. You're in pain. Just chill out. So, all of a sudden, the motorhome just starts moving and rocking. Now I'm getting more and more a little paranoid. As far as weapons, to each his own. That's all I'm going to say about weapons. So, the motorhome starts rocking. All of a sudden, so I'm laying there, now it's dark. And the only thing that I had running in the motorhome was the heater. So, all of a sudden it starts raining. So when I had called Ebel, she says, Mom, it's really, really windy out here. That's probably what you heard. So I'm like, cool, okay, you know, I'm going to bed. Call it a day. So all night long, it rained and rained and rained and rained. Well, anybody who has a motorhome or a camper or a trailer, whatever, and you have any type of plumbing, bathroom, shower, sink, whatever, whenever you leave your campground, you always empty your tanks. And you have 2 tanks. You have a gray tank and a black tank. And I'll elaborate on that in a few minutes. So, through the night, it rained. like all night, super hard, and Beanie never barked once. So it was my imagination basically playing with me, because again, I hadn't slept for like 3 days. The pain was intense, and I just wanted quiet. So the next morning, I go to put Beanie outside, and there's snow. I'm like, what is going on? Mind you, I should have followed my little signs. Like it wasn't meant to be, but I still pushed it and went camping. So the next day, I'm like, I'm not staying here in this dark spot anymore. I want to go find another spot. But I had to empty my black tank. Mind you, I thought I had emptied it before, but apparently there was a clog in the tank and it didn't empty. So now I'm driving around the campground, and in another video, I'll show you how big this campground is. So on one side of the campground, you have kids. On the other side, it's just adults. But because it's not technically camping season, they've closed down a lot of the campground, and they're putting all the RVs kind of together in one spot. Which is cool if you have like the older neighbors, because nobody bothers anybody. Everybody's really, really sweet. Everybody looks out for each other. And because I do stay at the campground, but I come home to do other things. So I'm within a 25-minute drive from my house to the campground, which is super convenient for me, that I can take care of the things that I need to take care of. Ebel can be taken care of. Everybody can be taken care of. So needless to say, anyway, so I went to look for another spot. No spots. Now I'm a little frustrated because now I'm tired. I'm done. I should never have went. So I pull up to empty my black tank. Now, mind you, it had rained all night. It did snow. So where you empty your motorhome, there was puddles, huge, huge puddles of water. So now here I am, this big white chick, trying to empty her black tank. In the rain, I get the hose on, and I've done this so many times. So it's not like I didn't know what I was doing. So I hook up my hoses, whatever. So I go back into the motorhome to see, because you could hear it drain. So there was something there. But when I had went back in to check the tanks, it kept saying full. So it was getting more and more frustrating. I was cold. I was wet. So I go back out, and I go to hit the hose to find out why my black tank is not empty. Now, your black tank is for your sewage, your shower water, and then your gray tanks are like your sink that you washed your dishes in, the sink in the bathroom that you wash your hands. So you're supposed to empty your black tank first, which is your sewage. So when you empty your gray tanks, all that clear water, even though it's dirty water, cleans out all the hoses and keeps your systems running good. So I heard it, so I figured, okay, it's empty. Like I said, I went back in the motorhome, and it kept showing full. So here I go back out the motorhome. I go to the hose, and all of a sudden the hose pops. The sewage starts spilling like everywhere. Like it was so fast that I couldn't catch the hose to the motorhome. It looked like the motorhome was exploding from underneath, and it was going really fast. So whatever the plug was, it went through. So now I'm standing there in the rain. I had sewage all in my shoes, my socks, my sweatshirt. Thank God I was wearing gloves. So my gloves had got it was horrible. It literally looked like if you have a pimple, and it comes to a head, but it hurts so bad, but you want to finally pop it, so when you pop it, it explodes. Bingo. The motorhome exploded. So after the fact, I cleaned up the best that I could, but I was already disgusted because now I'm full of sewage. I just wanted to take a shower and throw my clothes away. So it was all over the ground. It never made it into the septic tank. So I hurried up, and I tried to clean it with the hose. Their spigot was broken. So there was water just flying everywhere. So at this point I'm thinking, well, the sewage went into these puddles, so it's not so bad. I can call the office, and they'll get the sewage company to come out and clean it up. So I go back to park by the river because there was no parking. I hurried up, and I threw all my clothes off, and if I would have had Pine Sol and bleach, I would have bathed in it. So I get into my shower and I just scrub the heck out of my body. At this point, I call the office because I'm the type of person that if I see something like that, I'll sit there and I'll bust up laughing. But then I'll help you. So I can only imagine the people that were watching me. I was hoping they'd bust up laughing because this was so horrible, but it was funny at the same time. And the fact that it happened to me, I find it hilarious. So anyway, so I go and I call the office and I'm like, look, the hose busted, there's sewage, I cleaned it up the best I could, but there is water everywhere. So he goes, okay, don't worry about it. We'll call the septic company, they'll come out and they'll clean it up. He goes, if there's anything, we'll call biohazard. Oh my God, I was mortified. I was like, okay, well, he goes, yeah, but we saw you on the security cameras. So now I'm picturing everybody in this office is watching this big white woman in the rain trying to empty her tanks, and the hose pops. I would have laughed. I'm not gonna lie. I would have laughed, and then I would have ran out there and helped the poor woman. So when he told me that he saw me on camera, not only was I mortified, I was embarrassed, but I thought it was the funniest thing. Because I'm sure they come across things like that all the time. But for me, I had to laugh at myself. So I'm thinking, oh my God, biohazard? Like, this campground's going to be shut down just because my hose popped. So I ended up calling eBay, and needless to say, everything got cleaned up. Biohazard didn't have to come. I went home, ended up putting the motorhome in storage. But it's a very good lesson to learn because it did explode. Oh, there's Bean. Alright, so like, subscribe, and I will give you a tour of the campground tomorrow and see whatever mess I get into next. Peace. Got my video.